Hey girl, how you doing? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Hey Jerry,
Hello. There we go.
how you
There we
doing?
go. Sorry about that. Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Let me just get my questions real quick. Question.
So how are things going? Are y'all are both on the East Coast?
Yes, yes. Oh, where are you?
I'm in California.
Nice, nice. I need to come out to California. That seems to be where all the fun, cool people are.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Yeah, I'm originally from DC.
Mm.
So like my wife and I we moved out here like 2017.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's I mean the stuff that we do like it's all out here. Are y'all like where are y'all on the East Coast? Or
I'm
are
outside
y'all on the
of
East Coast?
Baltimore. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
outside of
Baltimore?
Baltimore.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
I miss Maryland. I miss Maryland so much. It's like we even say I'm stuck in South Carolina presently, but that will change next summer.
Oh, that's cool. South Carolina's not that bad.
I mean, I'm born and raised here. We just moved back 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
We were living in DC and Maryland.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
All right. So everybody's from around the way then.
Hmm.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, but y'all would like it here because the I was actually just back home over the weekend and like I know it's crazy hot over there, but like that humidity, whoo, it's
Yeah.
thick.
Yeah, it's okay today. It's like in the 70s today, but last week we had a heat wave and then our air
Hmm.
conditioner broke.
Oh no.
So, but we fortunately we live in an apartment complex, so the
Hmm.
maintenance guy came, that same day.
Hmm.
But I was like, my child has asthma. This is unacceptable.
I mean,
I was
like
like,
you gotta let them know.
I was pissed. I was because we've been in here for 5 years, and
Mm,
last year I complained about the air conditioning, and I said, it's not getting as cool as it should be. So they just like, oh, okay, they did a little tinkering and then walked away. And so, but this time they actually like hooked up a hose and was charging stuff. I was like, y'all should have been did that.
Yeah.
As much money as we pay, I
yeah,
can't be freezing to death as much money as I have to pay for this rent.
yeah, yeah.
So, but gonna jump right into it. We're already recording. So this is we're starting a podcast called Ororo Comics Podcast, and our first show is launching July 4th, right? Ebony, you was
Yeah.
cool with that date. So you're gonna be like, maybe like show 4 or something like that.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, we want to just and usually we reserve this space for women,
Oh
but
man, I'm
but
intruding.
yeah, but we loved X-Men 97 so much. We just wanted to get your insight onto the things we can talk about. Some things we're going to stay off topic. We're not going to we're not going to bring up Bo at all. We just want to bring out what your contributions were. And
Hmm.
we'll just have a conversation.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So you want to start it off, Ebony, or you want me to go?
Yeah. I'm trying to get the questions pulled up.
Okay. Are we going to do our intro?
Yeah. Let's see I have the June 27th here. There we go. Oh, wait, where I don't have the intro. Where is the intro?
I think it's in the show notes, I think. I'm pulling them up now too.
Lord.
You gotta forgive us, Jerry. We have not filmed in weeks because,
Oh,
we just been like you have your practicum right now and
oh God.
okay.
I hear you. Life's.
Life be
Yeah.
life in.
Hmm.
You see it. Welcome in April, the show season 1 show notes.
Yes, the welcome and then a safe space. Yep. Think
Mm-hmm.
that's it. I think it's that. We just shortened it down to that, right? Okay. I was like, it's not more than that. Okay. I was like, do I have the right notes? Because just
Yeah.
making sure. Got
All
it.
right. All right. Here we go. Hi, my name is Carla Madrano, aka Moon the Storyteller, and I'm a wife, a mom, and a nurse, and also the creator of Luna, the Queen of Maru, an award-winning comic book series from Concrete Comics.
And hi, I'm Dr. Ebony Toussaint, and I'm also a wife, a mom, and a research scientist and a nurse in training. I investigate food, faith, and Black futures. And this is a safe space where we discuss the intersection of health, culture, and of course, comics.
All right. So today's show, we have Mr. Jerry Gaylord. He was one of the animators on X-Men 97. And so usually, this space is reserved for women, but because we loved X-Men 97 so much, we wanted to invite you on the show to talk a little bit about your experience working on the X-Men 97 season 1. So
For
welcome.
sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for agreeing to come. I
Yeah,
know we share a mutual friend, Sean. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
yeah,
I
we
didn't know you're
share.
actually friends with Sean.
Yeah, I have not seen him in years, but when I was young and single, we hung in the same circles, and every weekend. So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool. You know what? That guy. Oh man, that guy.
yeah, yeah, he's a good guy. All right, so we're just going to jump right into the questions because I know your time is very valuable. So the first question is, take us back to the moment you picked up your first comic book or manga. When did you know you wanted to be a part of this world?
Um, wow. So I the I think the first comic book I remember picking up was probably from like the 7-Eleven or the library when I was like a little kid, maybe like 5 or 6, and it was Adventures of Superman something or other, and I remember like it was like Clark Kent on the cover, but like his shirt was like ripped and you could see the S underneath, and it's like, oh no, he's like standing in the middle of like the office at the Daily Planet. It's like, what's gonna happen? um I remember like picking that up. I was like, oh my goodness, this is bad news. This is bad news for Superman. I don't know how he's gonna get out of this. But I think that may have been like the first comic book, like actual comic book that I ever picked up. And I loved it. But I think for me, my love for like superheroes and like all of that stuff really goes like even further back to like just my earliest memories of like watching like Super Friends cartoons and the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Like those were like really impactful for me. And then like all the Saturday morning cartoons and GI Joes and Transformers and She-Ras and He-Mans and Jim and the Holograms, like all of that stuff. Like it was really impactful on me. And then I remember, as I got older, like picking up more comics from like the 7-Eleven and like, um, I guess it would be like the early 90s, like Spider-Man stuff I was really excited about. And um, you mentioned Sean, actually, he he had a pretty big impact on my art actually, because I remember he told me he was the first person to tell me I didn't have a style. I was like a little kid, I was probably like 12. He was like, you don't have a style, you got to figure that out. I was like, style? What you talking about? So he around that time, I mean, it's like for me as early as like 4 or 5, I knew I wanted to do art professionally. And I think probably, as soon as I had that first comic book in my hand, I knew I wanted to work with comics in some way.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned a lot of cartoons there that I love too. I love He-Man and I love Jim and the Holograms. And I see in the background you have what is that, Superman 3?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Superman
underrated.
3.
It's underrated.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah, I loved all of them, but I remember I think that's the one I was old enough to go to the movie theaters and see.
Oh,
So
okay. That's
yeah,
cool.
Ebony, you was a baby. You was a baby, Ebony. I don't know if he was alive. I don't know if he was alive yet for that movie. He might have been too young. I don't know. But
So I don't like, for me, I don't think I did not see Superman 3 in the theater. Like that's for me, that was like VHS and all that kind of stuff. But I remember, like, I think I was maybe like 7 when
Mhm.
Superman 4 came out, and I remember watching that in the theater. And that was a big deal
Oh, okay.
for me.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to take the next
You
question?
Yeah.
So you kind of mentioned, I guess, around 4 or 5 years old when you knew you wanted to be an artist, which is so young because you know a lot of the
Mhm.
theories around development and knowing who you are by the time like you're 6 and stuff. So that's really dope. But how did you become a part of, you know, X-Men 97? You mentioned, like Carla said, you mentioned a lot of cartoons, and you
Mhm.
mentioned DC with the Superman, and that's the poster behind you. So how
Yeah.
did you become a part of X-Men 97?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, like I mean, when I was a kid, like when the X-Men cartoon came out, like that was like a huge deal. Like it was a huge deal for me. It had a tremendous impact on me. And in fact, like my wife, when she and I actually met in high school, when I first met her, like she asked me to draw Rogue, and like from the cartoon, and she still has like the art, and I signed it, and it was like in 97. So
Wow.
yeah, it's part of my like secret origin story. But
That's a full circle moment right there.
Right?
yeah,
You gotta bring her on
yeah,
the pod. She was there.
yeah, for sure. For sure. But yeah, so I worked at Blizzard for a couple of years, doing storyboards for like the cinematics, and I met, you know, a bunch of people there. And so Samantha Brown, who's one of the recruiters at Marvel, she was at Blizzard at that time. So, you know, she and I became friends, and when she went over to Marvel and they, you know, started looking for people, she, you know, threw my name in the hat that they were searching through for artists. And Marvel actually reached out to me for a different show that I did end up working on, that they still haven't announced yet. But that show wasn't ready to get started yet, and they didn't want to lose me, so they reached out to what turned out to be the X-Men. Like I didn't know what the show was, but they reached over to the X-Men and asked them if they needed any help, because they did at the time. They were really just getting started. And so the line producer Sean Ganka, he reached out to me, and I think he gave me a phone call, and he was like, "Hey, we're doing this show. It's super hush hush. Um, you know, it's going to be the X-Men." And I was like, "What?" And you know, I was like, "Sign me in, like say
How did
no
you say
more."
it? How did you say it?
The
What?
what? Oh
Like, say
yeah.
less. Like,
Yeah, right. So he, you know, he's like, X-Men. I'm like, yeah, say no more. I'm in. And then he's like, wait, that's not it. It's gonna be like a continuation of the 92 animated series. And I'm just like, my mind exploded, because it's like, you know, to be involved in an X-Men project is like, that's cool. Like that's exciting. But like the idea that they're gonna go and do the version of it that I most relate to, that I'm you know, really connected to that way, seems, at the time it seemed you know, like just completely incredible, like out of the blue, you know. And I mean, I guess ultimately it is, because, you know, only so many people get to work on these things. Um, and yeah, so it was pretty cool. And so they asked me to come in and do storyboard revisions. And so I started out helping out doing storyboard revisions with the with Jake Castorino, and he's the story well, he was the story supervisor then, but I guess he's sort of like running the show right now. But he liked what I was doing so much that he asked me to stay on and do storyboards. So I ended up doing boards on episode 1. I did some revisions on episode 2, and then I worked on episode 4 and 6. So it was it was pretty
Storm,
incredible. Yeah, yeah,
Storm,
yeah.
Storm was episode 6.
Ooh.
Yeah, she was 4 and 6.
4 and
So
6. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh wow, man, that is a full circle moment right there. And I think the one thing that I did catch, want to just emphasize that you said was that you said you worked with Samantha. I forget her last name you mentioned,
Brown.
but
Hmm.
Samantha Brown. You worked with her before. So
Yeah,
evidently, not only did she notice that you had a talent, but you were easy to work with, and she actually liked you, you know?
yeah,
And it just
yeah.
speaks to the importance of treating people with respect and kindness. Even if you don't think you're going to see this person ever again, it doesn't hurt to treat people with respect and kindness and, meet your deadlines and do your job. And because you never know, years down the road, that person may be in a position that can really give you that opportunity. And you've been working in this field for a while now. So I'm not going to say X-Men 97 was your big opportunity, but you are part of a an epic part of history, in the comic book world. So, and your name is a part of that. So that just speaks to being, kind and to people that you work with. Um, so our next question: how has your culture influenced your work, and was it intentional?
Um, I think uh in every way imaginable. I think you you can't separate your culture from um your creative endeavors. Like who I am flows into my work. It flows into, my perspective is, I think, ultimately, like in terms of like when you hire me, like that's what you're going to get, right? So like I'm a storyboard artist, and essentially what I do is I read the script and then I interpret it. Like I bring those ideas into reality visually. And so my experiences and my perspective, um they can't help but be a part of my work. And I think particularly with the X-Men, because of the like the nature of the characters and the subject matter, I think um, it's impossible not to. Like I think um, in almost every instance in that show, like I think my experiences are pretty important to how uh, I interpret the scripts and bring sort of bring those ideas into reality through the storyboards.
Yeah. And Ebony, I know the next question is yours, but I want to just touch on what he said. You connect with the characters. Which character in season 1 did you connect with the most as you were drawing them?
I think I actually I spent the most time working on Storm and Jubilee,
Mhm.
and so like those characters really resonate with me. I think Jubilee, like she, like in the original series, she's like the POV character. Like she's the character that we experience like the world of the X-Men through. And I think like when I was a teenager, like the stuff that she was going through was not like super different from what I was going through. And I think her arc in X-Men 97 is it feels like very close to home. I think that like a lot of the sort of you know what, they don't I don't there isn't really a word for like in the X-Men universe, they don't call it racism exactly. I guess they just call it prejudice. But like what I see Jubilee and Roberto, like Sunspot going through in the X-Men is like you know, it feels like things that I've like actually experienced. Like when I was a teenager, like there are moments in the show like where she's like running from like mobs and things like that that like really like hit home. You know, like I remember like being a young teen and like, you know, being chased by you know, a couple like white guys in their truck, like throwing bottles and waving guns at us.
Wow.
You know, like things like that. And then even while I was working on the show, like I remember I was taking a walk and I was just walking like in the morning, like doing my morning walk. And like this lady across the street, like she just screams at me, like, get out of here, you N-word. Like I'm just
What?
like, you know what I
Now,
mean?
2024?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was working on the show in 2022. But yeah, I mean, you know,
What
this
was
was,
this in California?
yeah, yeah,
Oh wow.
in Glendale, California, you know, right
Wow.
in the home of the Disney studio. Well, I mean, it was like I wasn't on this Disney studio lot, but like the Disney studio is in Glendale. I was living in Glendale at
Mhm.
that time. So yeah, I mean, it's like all of these things are real, they still happen. Um, you know what I mean? So I think uh it's impossible to separate those things. And then with Storm, um, like I think it just almost goes without saying, like Storm is probably like the X character. Like I feel like she embodies like all of it. And I think even in the show, like the other characters talk about her in that way. And I think like she's my mom's favorite character, obviously. And so like there's just like this really deep desire in me to make sure that, you know, as far as I can get her character right, like I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that she's like represented properly on screen.
Mhm. Yeah, that episode 6 was probably my second favorite episode of
Mm,
the season. Yeah.
I mean, the
thank
first
you.
one
I mean,
kind of
yeah,
came in there to me, my X-Men. I mean, just so many
yeah.
lines. Like the first one, I think had us all in a chokehold. Like, wait, we gotta wait and see what is about to happen. Like, whoa, wait, just came in swinging. I think just
Hmm.
took all of our breath away. But I mean, I think your comment about Storm being X-Men, like
Hmm.
big facts, like big facts. I think
Yeah,
my childhood, especially, I mean, everybody's just looking at her. And then of course, also during my childhood, because I'm a baby, um, we get Holly Berry as Storm. Not saying
yeah.
the best thing ever, but she was everywhere, you know, in the
Yeah,
90s.
she was a big deal. I think for sure that's why she was cast. Like, you know,
Yeah.
she was like the name at the time, like in Hollywood in general. You know,
No
I think she
lie
had.
though, I still wonder what it would have been like if we had Angela Bassett or Janet
Yeah.
Oh
Jackson.
yeah, oh yeah. Oh man, I don't know about Janet Jackson, but definitely Angela Bassett. Like
They offered her the
that's the
role.
casting. They
They,
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
they offered Angela the role first,
Hmm.
and then she turned it down. I don't know why she turned it down. Then they offered Janet the role, but she was going on tour. So
Oh
then Halle Berry came in, but I was like, man,
wow.
I really wish we had Angela on
We
there.
had
Yeah.
Angela, right?
Yeah, I
Well,
think she would have got
it's
her own
like
movie.
so like I come the way it all turned out, I'm kind of glad it wasn't her
Mm.
because like I don't it's not like in that first movie Storm is not in any of those movies Storm is not like a main she doesn't feel like a main character. She seems like a, you know, she's like a side character.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want Angela Bassett to be the side character Storm. Like I want like a upfront like Storm, you know?
And now
How
she's the
did you?
queen mother of Wakanda. So, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, T'Challa's lover because we got her as queen mother. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
it worked
Exactly.
out. It worked out. You mentioned your culture and how it's influenced your work. And I appreciate that you talked about that because sometimes we talk a lot about even my work as a scientist, we talk about how we bring our passion into our profession and do it has to be one or the other, or can it be a combination of both? So thank you for bringing your full self. Because like you said, like how we read stories, we're going to filter it through our lens and our various labels. And so speaking of labels, how do you think that American culture and ideals influence like mainstream media and maybe the reception of X-Men 97, the revival?
Like you guys sent me that question ahead of time, and that's the one that I really like. I don't exactly know how to answer. I think it's a pretty big question because I feel like American culture really affects everything. If it affects like all cultures, just because of America's sort of place in the world.
Mm.
And I and then like even to say that like it's hard to just be like, well, what is American culture? You know what I mean? Like it's so fractured and splintered. um you know it's difficult to say like, oh, this is like how Americans see X, and so this is why all of this happens, because none of us really agree on any particular thing. And then, um, I think so much of what uh, we sort of like, what is our culture? Like we don't see it. You know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily like go, oh, like this is like this American thing. It's just a part of us, and we aren't necessarily able to like quantify it while it's happening. And it's sometimes really difficult to like take a step back and say, this is like all these things are happening because, this culturally specific event or thing. And so like it's really heavy. Like I think about these things a lot because like um, you know, I work in entertainment, and
Mhm.
like you would think, oh, it's just entertainment, like it doesn't matter, but it does matter, right? Like you can like I can look at my own life and say that, like it's all behind me, right? Like I saw Superman 3, and now I work in the entertainment industry. And so the things that I saw in that movie, the things that I see in any movie, any comic book, those things become a part of me. And then, so now I'm a part of entertainment. And so those things are coming out of me, and they're going to other people, and they're absorbing it whether they know it or not,
Mhm.
like
That's a good
these
point.
things, right? So it's like, these ideas, like for sure, like you can't help but be influenced by America, but America is influenced by us
Mhm.
also. So it's I don't know. I don't have like a super great answer for that question, but I think it's a really good question, and I'm going to keep thinking about it probably forever.
I mean, people struggle even with like the genocide and like Genosha and the concept of free and liberated mutants just living peacefully amongst themselves with no intervention from outside forces, if you will, and just a
Hmm.
lot of the catchphrases and how they're hoping that I mean, what was it? Scott's entire monologue, right? Of
Hmm.
like how, oh, we thought you were like us. And he's just like, if we really were like you,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
kind of watching, like, as we're expected to
Hmm.
perform and smile and still be on live reality TV while
Hmm.
people are being murdered. And
Sure. I
you're
mean,
mad at my madness and me being frustrated with your line of questioning, and it just
I think I think that so I didn't work on that episode, and so when I saw it, like all of that was uh like I experienced it the way you did. And so like I was just like, yeah, like tell it. Like that's how I feel. Like I really relate to Cyclops. Like I like the character a lot. And I
Mm.
think in this show, he's been like the most full version of the character.
Mm.
And just in that moment, I mean, I just feel like he was just saying like all these things that I already feel, that I don't I guess that maybe like the thing that I like the most about it is that a lot of times X-Men in particular is subtext. Like it tackles these ideas, but
Exactly.
it's subtext. And I feel like in this show in X-Men 97, it's not really subtext, it's like it is text. And I feel like, they're asking all of these questions, and they're pointing out like these things that happen to all of us, like, in day-to-day life. And they're like, um, you know, they're just pointing a light at it. And for sure, you know, these sort of events that happen in the show are inspired by reality. Like, like the in episode 2, the whole like storming the courthouse thing is a pretty direct parallel to January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
And like I definitely worked on that episode. And so like even like it it got a visceral reaction out of me reading reading the script and like knowing like these ideas. And so um like all of that is fresh in me. And so, as I'm working on the boards, like those feelings and those ideas and those things like really go into the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, X-Men 97, I think, is a reflection of what's going on today. It really is. Like you mentioned, Genosha and the genocide. I always think of Tulsa, Oklahoma, when I think of
Hmm.
what happened in was that 5? Episode 5 was where all that happened. But yeah, I think it's just a reflection in the conversation Jean had with Storm about bringing a child into this world.
Sure.
That is something that I could easily say. I think Ebony, you could have said the same thing. Like we could have said these same things and it would have fit
Sure.
perfectly. So I mean that the work that you all did, y'all
Yeah.
deserve Emmys, Oscars, Tonys, Eisners, whatever, all the awards in the world.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the so like the people behind the show are pretty diverse for the most part. Like I think this show just has a lot of people from a lot of walks of life, and I think it all everyone's bringing their experience to the table. And I think Bo, as a writer,
protected at your front door.
Sorry, that's Alexa. She always, every time I'm doing one of these, she's just sticking her nose
I
in.
have a couple definitions for the adverb every time. One, at each occasion.
Not the shade from
Two,
Alexa.
I
you
know
express
she being
a
petty.
strong preference
She
for
being petty
something.
right now.
So much. But yeah, Bo, he's a great writer, and like his personal experiences, um, and things like he's able to bring those things into the story, in a way that other people just wouldn't have been able to do. So I think that all of those things really contribute to like the authenticity of like how the show makes you feel.
Yeah, Roberto hurt me too. Like I don't know who worked on that with the mom. Like the idea
Hmm.
that his parents, I have 3 Black sons. The idea that I wouldn't support them through anything is just
Hmm.
it's just crazy to me. I was like, throw the whole mom away. Like throw her away. Like how you set your child up like this? Your love, one of your heartbeats. You carry them like
Mm-hmm.
brought them into the world. I know the way I love my sons and playing a show for them throughout their entire lives. Like they're mine forever. They always gonna be
Yeah,
my babies. So the idea that she would just money or profit or all these other horrible choices over your child was just
yeah.
no
It's
forgiveness for that.
heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, but that's a lot of people's reality.
Mm-hmm. So time is so I promise you it'll be 30 minutes. We just got 2 more questions. 2 more questions.
We're good. We're good.
Okay. What is it, my turn, Ebony, or your turn?
Mm-hmm.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think is what is the future of animation for creatives of color? What do you foresee in 5 years if more animators such as yourself, artists such as yourself of color wants to get into this business? What would you say to them? What's the future look like for them?
Right now is really an uncertain time in the industry in general. Like there's a lot of different things with like AI, like
Mm.
being a really big issue, and then the studios in general are not producing as much. Um, I really what I hope to see is more people of color just creating their own things, right? So that's something that I'm working on currently, or really like trying to get back into. Um, you know, I think that we just need to stop waiting for people to give us permission, right? So like you're creating your own books. You know, we don't need people to, you know, sort of put us on. Like we need to put ourselves on, and not wait for permission or wait for somebody to say, oh, like you have this talent, you have this thing. Like people don't know anything. The thing that I've learned the most from being in the industry is that everyone, like all these people, are just people with opinions. Like, you know, good writers, bad writers, good artists, bad artists, like storytellers. Like nobody knows anything, you know. And so if you want to create something, then you should create it, bring it to the table, put it out there for people to see, and people will decide if they like it or not. You know what I mean? Like I think as long as we stop waiting for people to validate us and just create and just uh, you know, write and draw and do the things that are in our hearts to do, then you know, I think we will see the things that we want to see.
That's so inspiring. That and you're right. I feel like when you say people don't know anything, what you mean is, I feel, is that everyone has their own perspective, and what you may like, what you like, is not necessarily what these people over here will like, and vice versa. And
Sure.
there's your work. There's eyes for your work. There's people that will support your work. You just have to find them. But you first have to create it, and then you
Yeah.
find your people. So yeah, that's really encouraging. Thank you. That was encouraging to me too.
Yeah, well, facts. Because when you talk about bringing your culture and like yourself, like Carla knows I'm Gullah Geechee down to the socks, and I love horror. But it makes a lot of our folklore, like boo hags and plaid eyes and things like that. So I literally, me and my sister talk about this stuff like all the time. And of course, I have other friends that are artists, and we have a love for like horror and like Afrofuturism and things like that. And so that's very inspiring to, yeah. They're always like, you should write this down or write about it. Because I'm always like, oh, I got an idea for this or a horror that. And they're like, write it already. Like, I'm like, but who wants to?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be writing it for myself. And they're like, that's how it starts. Write it for yourself. So
Yeah. I think I mean that's like ultimately the only thing I'm ever trying to do is make the 5-year-old me excited, right? So like if because that's all you can do. Like I don't know what's going to make other people excited. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I mean, I want people to enjoy my work, but I can't shoot for that. Like I used to my very first job ever was doing caricatures. So like I used to do caricatures at Six Flags in Maryland. And
Wow.
all right, shout out to Bowie. All right.
Yeah.
I probably got one done from you.
Maybe. I was there for a long time.
We used to live right over there too.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, and I learned early on, like you can do an incredible piece of art, you can do an incredible drawing, but that doesn't mean that the person you're drawing it for will like it, you know. And it doesn't mean that my drawing is bad. It just means that that person didn't like it, you know.
I guess somebody said, I don't like this, mommy.
Oh,
I don't
you
like
have you have no idea. I've made children cry, I've made adults cry. You know, I've had people try to return their caricature so they could get some funnel cake.
Oh
So
my
yeah.
goodness, that's
Oh yeah.
dishonest. Oh my God, I would have called them out. I mean, the point of a caricature though is also to point out like your most like
Yeah.
exaggerated feature. Like mine are always my teeth. So anytime I've had a caricature done, it's been my teeth, and I'm like, oh, I had all these braces and mouth work done in middle school, and so the fact that people do caricatures, that's the thing. I'm like, no,
Mine is my forehead.
Oh no.
oh goodness. Wait, what's yours, Jerry?
Mine, I don't know. It's a whole bunch of stuff. I got little ears. I got
Your
peanut head. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the artist. They'll find something.
Y'all like comedians. Y'all will pick on that one insecurity we have.
Oh, so I guess our final questions, you mentioned your 5-year-old self, but our final questions talk about your 12-year-old self and what would you tell them? And then your advice for people that want to become an artist, which you've kind of already kind of addressed.
That one's easy. I think, you know, I was fortunate my dad really, he was absolutely like the most encouraging person. And, you know, he would always just say, just keep at it, you know. And I think the best advice that I could ever give to anyone, my 12-year-old self or anyone, is just, you know, keep going. Like keep creating. The more you do it, the better you'll get. And you know, like you'll find your way. I think people who are creative, I know this is the case with me, like I can't not do it. I think there was a point in my career, like not early on, but like I don't know, in the 2000s, like shortly after Obama got elected, where I was really seriously thinking about calling it quits. And I did for like a month. Like I was like, I'm done. Stopped drawing. I got like a regular job, and it wasn't for me. Like I couldn't be that person and like live that way. So I think when, you know, if it's really what you're supposed to do, like you know it, your body knows it, and it won't let you not do it. So just keep at it.
Yeah, I think that's amazing advice. And so how can we support you? Like what those who listen to this podcast, let us know how we can support you.
Oh, well, I am, you can find me on Instagram, usually, the franchise with the Z art. Um, you know, you can find me there, give a follow, say hi. Um, you can, other than that, you can just Google Jerry Gaylord. I pop up like probably like the first 15 or 20 things are all me. And then,
Pretty nice. That's
uh,
nice. That's large.
um, and then let's see, I'll be at I'm trying to think of my next upcoming conventions. I'll be at the Uncanny Experience in Minneapolis, which is like a big X-Men convention experience thing. I think that's in September. There's like a bunch of people from the show and voice actors and stuff that'll be there as well. And then I'll be at Lightbox later this year, which is an animation convention. A lot of industry people there. Um, and there's going to be a show in Alaska, I think, at some point that I'll be at. So,
Wow.
yeah, just, you know, I'll be around. Say hey on Instagram.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
Well, thank you so much. You had anything else, Ebony?
no, that was amazing. I was hoping he was gonna say Baltimore Con. I was waiting for it.
Baltimore? No, so I did Awesome Con this year. So that was cool. Like that was fun. But I mean Baltimore used to be like the home show. Like we used to do it all the time. But we just like getting back out to the East Coast to do conventions is just tough.
Yeah.
It's real tough.
Yeah. It's I don't know if I'm gonna make it to a con, event at a con this year, but I'm definitely going to Baltimore as a guest.
Oh,
So
cool.
not as a guest, not a guest, not a not a show guest, but
I'm a headliner.
I'm gonna buy tickets and go.
Oh, okay.
Same. So we'll be out there in
Yeah,
Baltimore.
not yet. Maybe one day I'll be invited as a guest, but I don't, not now. I'm not there yet. I'm not Jerry yet.
Oh.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I absolutely enjoyed this. Y'all are fantastic. So
thank you. And y'all,
yeah,
you're welcome anytime. When season 2 hits, are you working on season 2? Did you work
No, I didn't. So I didn't work on season 2. I was working on a different show while they were boarding. I was actually mostly the show that they haven't talked about yet. But I also worked on season 3 of What If. So I think like the last couple of episodes of What If season 3 I worked on. So I got to help them wrap up that show. So that was exciting.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, we'll have you back. We'll have you back when one of those shows drops. Because I don't think season 3 is not out yet, right?
No, it's not out, but they've teased it, so it'll I'm sure it'll be out relatively soon. So yeah,
all right.
Yeah, but I'm happy to come back. We can chop it up.
Yeah, love it. Well, you have a good one. We gonna keep recording, but I mean, you're more than welcome to stay if you want to. So we about to talk about some culture and health stuff.
Oh, all right. Well, y'all enjoy. Keep on doing it. And I'm actually gonna get back to drawing some other storyboards.
All right. You
Nice.
take
Thank you
care.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
All right.
I'm glad to
Thank
finally
you.
meet you.
Yeah,
Bye.
for sure. Thank you so much.